here on YouTube for our first coaching session of 2021. It's a live stream, it's an Ask Me Anything, so you can chime in, type something, and I will answer your question for you. We're going to do this for about 2 hours, so from till about 10 o'clock. Hello, hi, welcome to this live stream, free coaching live session. We're going to be doing these once a week on Mondays from now on. You can ask me anything you need to, and I will respond to your questions in the order that they arrive. Welcome to the Rocket Swimming Channel. I'm Johnny Rocket. Let's have some fun. Let's answer some questions. Hello. Our moderator today will be Neeraj Joshi. He is the chief editor on the channel, as well as the chief digital officer of Rocket Swimming. Go ahead and ask me any kind of questions you guys would like. I will answer them in the order in which they arrive. Hey, I'm slow because I can never hold my breath. How do I improve? You're slow because you can never hold your breath. That's actually something you may not want to be doing. I don't like to hold my breath when I swim. Just like running or biking or most physical exercises, you kind of want to keep a steady breath. If you wouldn't be holding your breath while pushing the grocery cart through a grocery store, so you shouldn't be holding your breath when you swim. Some people believe that it causes too much resistance, but I would argue that that's true for a 50, like 2 lengths of the pool. But anything beyond that, and you want the oxygen to fuel your muscles and keep them firing properly. So I recommend breathing every 2 strokes, every 3 strokes, or every 4 strokes max. But once you are probably around the age of 14 or 15 and beyond, you want to start breathing every 2 strokes. So pick a favorite side and take one breath every time you breathe to that side, every time you stroke to that side. Okay, great question. Thank you so much. I'm going to be looking through the chat for the next question. Hello. I need help with tips toward breathing when freestyle, please. Okay. Tips towards breathing when freestyling, please. Okay. So when you breathe in freestyle, there's a few tricks you can use to help make it a smoother breath. Make sure you get clean air. That's the number one priority, right? Is make sure you get a clean breath. You don't want to turn to the side and inhale air, water. Nobody likes that. So the first thing I like to do when I breathe to the side is make sure that you blow your air out in the water first. You want to exhale in the water, inhale to the side. Exhale in the water, inhale to the side. So the first step is to blow your air out right before you take a breath. The second step would be to follow the hand that you're going to breathe towards. Follow that back with your nose, kind of like if there's a string attached to your hand and your nose. Follow it back. When you breathe to the side, you're going to be breathing slightly behind you. Most beginners will breathe to the side and slightly in front of them. That's no good because when you're in front of you, your chin drops and that's closer to the water and your mouth's on your chin, not your forehead. So you're going to have your chin too close to the water and you might inhale water. But if you breathe slightly behind you, then your forehead dips in the water and your chin pops out, which is where you get your breath. So you want to breathe to the side and slightly behind you. Once you've got that breath, try to take 1 inhale. If you need 2, that's okay. Try to get yourself good enough to get 1 inhale when you breathe to the side. So you're going to turn to the side, you're going to get 1 big breath and then bring that hand in. Okay? The last tip I have for breathing to the side is when you breathe to the side, especially as you start out, don't bring this arm around right away. Let yourself sit here a little bit and get a breath. Keep the hand in the water until you're comfortable enough with the breath you've got, and then bring that hand back into the water. Okay, so don't rush through it thinking that you've got to get the air in time before this arm comes around. Take your time. You will get better. You got to practice it regularly and often, of course. But the more you let yourself get that breath and then come around, the more comfortable you'll get and the faster you'll improve with your breath. Hope that answered your question. Victoria said, thank you, you're welcome. Okay, thanks so much for that. Should your head stay down whenever you are freestyling? Yeah, you should keep your head in the water. If you're asking whether or not you should swim Tarzan or face in the water, I recommend face in the water, because if your head's up, your legs are going to sink. And when your legs sink, you start to sink, and that's just never comfortable. So keeping your head in the water while you're swimming freestyle is important. However, if you don't have goggles, I can understand how that might be frustrating. So invest in a good pair of goggles. I recommend the Finis brand, Speedo brand, Arena brand, TYR brand. I don't usually recommend Nike for swimming products or Adidas, but a good pair of goggles will help you be able to keep your face in the water without feeling like you're getting to, you're not getting enough air or something like that. How do you tread water? I can't do it when my feet touch the ground. My feet don't touch the ground. I get scared and my coach yells at me. Coach yells at you. I don't normally love teaching treading water, just because I always think the motivation for learning it is wrong. People want to learn it to be able to survive in the water, just in case they ever fall in or something. And if that's what your intention is, then you're better off floating on your back. Because when you float on your back, you can breathe, you can stay there for a while, you can kick a little bit. But when you try to tread water to stay up, you get too exhausted too quickly. So for one, I don't love treading water unless you're trying to learn how to do it for a social reason, like you want to be able to keep your head above water and talk to your other friends in the pool. I get that. That's a good idea, and so I'll help you out with that. So when you are in the water, you have two things that are keeping you up: your arms, your legs, right? So your arms are like frosting a cake. You're pressing water outwards and back inwards. Okay, you don't need to go out too wide. Keep your arms in front of you, okay, and frost the cake. Now you don't want to go completely sideways with your palms, okay? You kind of want to be on a 45-degree angle, pressing the water downwards and to the side, and then back the same way, like you're directing a choir, okay? More like that. The other thing you can do to help yourself is lean forward. Most people are trying to float water and they end up tipping backwards. Try to lean forward when you do it and you'll find a lot more success. So frosting the cake, leaning forward, and then the last step is the legs. Most people are extending their legs too much when they do treading water. So I recommend bringing your knees up into your gut a little bit more and trying to do shorter kicks. Now it's a one kick at a time, which is just a breaststroke kick. So your feet are flexed. They're not pointed, they're not dangly. Okay, so your feet are flexed and you're pressing the water down with the inside of your shin and your ankle, and you're pressing it down towards the water. Or down to the bottom. You're redirecting water downwards to keep you up. Okay, so you're pushing the water downwards with the inside of your leg, one leg at a time, like a breaststroke kick. So I actually recommend learning the breaststroke kick first, because once you understand the breaststroke kick, it's easier to start treading water, which is a one-legged breaststroke kick over and over again. It's also known as an egg beater kick because it looks like there's an egg beater that's churning one spoke at a time. So kicking the water downwards with 1 foot at a time, keeping your legs kind of tucked up inside you a little bit, and that will allow you to stay more compact and make it the whole experience easier. So lean forward, frost the cake, and kick the water downwards with the inside of your leg. Treading water is probably the hardest thing for an adult beginner to learn, that or the breaststroke kick. So you're already got your work cut out for you, especially because I said you should learn the breaststroke kick before you start treading water. So neither of those activities are easy, so I understand that. Let's see. All right, I saw another question come in, so let's get to that one. Hi, Coach. Oh, directing choir, that was a good one. Thank you, Darlene. I saw a video for treading water with just breathing, and it's so easy. That was so easy. Okay, good. Hi, Coach. What's your advice for people who are natural sinkers but want to float? Great question. Great question. I'm a kind of a natural sinker too, just because I'm a little bit larger on the larger side of the scale rather. And so I recommend when you're floating to remember that objects in motion tend to stay in motion. So you're better off floating by kicking a little bit and using your hands to paddle when you're on your back. Just waving goodbye to your feet, just keeping them in the water, just pushing water down towards your feet very lightly, and then kicking very lightly as well. The reason you don't want to overdo the kick is because eventually you'll get tired and you'll sink, right? So just light kicking will keep you in motion. And when you're in motion, you're moving forward, it's easier to stay up in the water. Think of like a boat. When a boat picks up speed, the front end of the boat goes up, right? That's because things that move forward in the water fast rise in the water. So if you're trying to stay up floating on your back, then your best bet, your best weapon is going to be to move. You want to continue the motion and kick a little bit. If you're trying to just sit still and float, that's very hard to do to keep your legs up. Very hard to do. So you should stick your arms out in front of you. If you float with your arms out to the side, your legs will definitely sink. If you float with your arms out in front of you, what you're doing is you're balancing out your body. It's called quadrant swimming. So you have a front quadrant with your arms. Your middle quadrant would be your head, your chest, and your third quadrant would be your stomach and your pelvis, and then the last quadrant would be your legs. So if you keep your arms out in front of you, that'll balance the legs out and bring them up. If your arms are about down here or off to the side, you're more likely to have sinking legs. So if you keep your arms out in front of you, you'll have an easier time staying up. If you stay in motion, you'll have an easier time staying up. That's if you're floating on your back. When you're floating on your stomach, arms out in front. When you're floating on your back, I recommend arms down by your side and kicking and paddling slightly with your feet and your hands. Okay? All right. Hopefully that answers your question. How often should I sit in open water for long? How often should I swim in open water for long distance swimming, such as an Ironman? If you're training for an Ironman, I recommend building the yardage up, the meterage, as you get closer and closer to the competition. So start off with maybe 10 minutes of swimming in open water till you get comfortable with that, then increase it to closer like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, eventually probably about a month out from the race, maybe 2 months. No, probably about a month. You want to be swimming for an hour every single day, Monday through Friday, 5 times a week, something like that. And that'll get your stamina up. Oh, eye sighting. Okay, I see, sighting. Well, at least now you got a tip on how to increase your stamina too. So, sighting, advice for people who are nervous. How often should I sight in open water for long distance swimming, such as an Ironman? Okay, for sighting, when you pick your head up in front of you and check your target to make sure you're still swimming in a straight line, I like to do that every 2 or 3 kick. Wow, thank you so much for the $10. I really appreciate that. This is something I love to do, but there's no guarantee of revenue when you do something like this. But I do want to be everybody's online coach moving forward. So those donations are a huge help. Thank you so much, Jig89. Back to sighting. So when you're sighting, you're looking for a target to help you stay in a straight line, right? You should do that every 2 or 3 strokes. So if you're breathing every 2 strokes in the water, then you're going to go 1, 2, 1, look forward. So that would be on the 3rd or 4th stroke. You're looking forward to put your face back in the water. And you should do it either right before you breathe to the side so that you look forward and then go into your breath, or you can do it right after you breathe to the side. So you're breathing to the side like this, and then as your arm comes around, you're looking forward and putting your face in the water. Either one works just fine. It's usually dealer's choice, swimmer's choice, whatever your preference is. So when you breathe to the side, or when you sight, you breathe to the side before or right after you look in front of you. And do it every probably 4 strokes, every other breath. So every 4 strokes most likely would, if you're breathing 2s. If you're breathing 3s, do it every single time you breathe. Because you don't want to start swimming curved or anything like that. That will automatically make you start swimming more yardage. So you should definitely be looking in front of you often, more than you think. Okay. How do you get your shoulders up higher in the water level? Oh, up higher than water level. Your shoulders up higher while doing the butterfly stroke. Very good question. I love the butterfly stroke. Very majestic. By the way, for those of you who are just joining us, we're doing a 2-hour live stream from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. my time, which is Texas time, Central Time Zone. We're about 20 minutes in, even though I know the live stream's only been going for about 15 minutes. But we'll go for 2 hours. I'm your new free online coach. I'm going to be doing this every Monday. I'm going to be getting on this live stream, answering your questions, helping you guys progress through your goals in your training. So keep coming back, keep asking questions. We're gonna be your first mega online free coaching channel. So stay tuned. So the question is, how do you get your shoulders up higher than the water level when swimming butterfly? Butterfly is the most inefficient stroke. I used to say it was the hardest stroke, but I don't like saying that anymore because it's got a negative connotation, of course. I like to say it's the most inefficient stroke, which means you're gonna get tired sooner. It also means that in order to go to the same speed as a stroke like backstroke or freestyle is gonna require more energy output. So it's gonna be a little more exhausting. It's an inefficient stroke. So when you're pulling down, you're breathing at the same time. So you start your breath as soon as you start your pull, and that's important. That means you're pulling your body up into the air to get your breath, and then as your arms swing around, you're diving your head back into the water. And that's important because the other thing is while you pull down, you want to give a giant butterfly kick. That'll lurch you forward and up in the water, getting your shoulders to clear it, and then the arms will fly around, diving you back into the water. I also highly recommend you practice this with fins. Fins they're like training wheels. They'll give you the stroke you're looking for without you feeling like you can't survive, like, I'm drowning in the water, or this is too hard, right? So you wear fins, you get good at it. My dogs showed up in the live stream. That's Rocket the dog. So hi, Mr. Mascot. Your shoulders will clear the water because you're pulling yourself forward and out, lurching yourself forward and out in the water, and then throwing your hands back forward to dive yourself back into the water. Wear the fins. It'll help you get the stroke you're looking for without having to survive in the water. It'll be a lot easier for you. Once you master it, then you can take maybe one fin off or both, whatever's fine, and try it again. And then go back and forth for a while. Wear fins sometimes, don't wear fins other times, or both in the same practice, and eventually you'll be able to do it without fins. Doing a little bit of shoulder exercises and weightlifting will also help that. I have found that my butterfly stroke responds the best of all 4 strokes to weightlifting, if that makes sense. So when I weightlift, my freestyle improves, my breaststroke improves, my backstroke improves, but my butterfly really improves a lot. Okay? So, great tip for butterfly. Great question for butterfly, rather. Darlene, what's your best tip to swimming to the bottom of the pool faster? I find it difficult to get to the bottom when trying to fill my lungs with breath to stay on top. Okay, so you're trying to swim to the bottom of the pool with lungs full of air and you're finding that difficult. Yeah, you can blow out a little bit. You don't have to keep your lungs completely filled with air. In fact, I usually blow out probably about halfway in order to get myself to the bottom of the pool. Changing your depth in the water is an actual skill that I work on with swimmers. So this is a great skill to have. Great question. Being able to adjust your depth in the water is not instinctual. It doesn't come naturally to a lot of people. You kind of need to take a deep breath, and then as you dive down, you probably want to go head first because it's a lot slower to go feet first. So you're going to dive down with your head first, but your hands will be in front of you. So you're diving down like this to pull the water to shoot your head down deeper into the water. Once you get a good pull, bring your hands back up in front of you and keep pulling until you get yourself all the way down to the bottom. Blow about half of your air out and you'll be fine. You'll get to the bottom quickly and then you can jump off it to dart right back up to the surface. And when you come up to the surface, if it's far away, I recommend again putting your hands up in front of you and pulling down to shoot you forward until you get back up to the surface. Okay? I also don't recommend people trying this in super deep water like ocean water, lake water, even super deep pools, just because as a disclaimer, I gotta keep you all safe. But it is a good skill to have to be able to swim deep underwater. So practicing in increasing depths is probably my professional recommendation. Lots of thank yous. You're welcome. Very helpful. Thank you, Coach. You are welcome. Hey, it's my pleasure to be here with you guys. I really enjoy this. I'm glad we get to do it again. It's been a while since I've been able to do live streams with you guys. Starting the business and growing it has been a good ride. It's been a little over a year now, and we're finally able to settle back down and get back into some YouTube uploads and things like that. So I'm really glad you guys are here. I'm gonna have to fill up that water bottle here in just a second, but I'll take one more question. When you're talking a lot, obviously your mouth gets dry pretty fast. Okay, Victoria's Pyre says, thank you. What other workout routines and diet do you recommend to become a strong swimmer? I'm completely lost at the gym, but I do cardio, coach. I don't know what to eat. Okay, yeah, so being a well-rounded swimmer starts, in my opinion, first with sleep, a good sleeping pattern. Of course, diet, exercise, and sleep are like the big three to being in good shape, right? But I would argue that sleep is the base, the first thing you want to conquer, because once you have a normal sleeping pattern, your body actually gets used to when it's time to go to bed and when it's time to wake up. So you'll wake up with more energy and more motivation to eat properly and to exercise, and then you'll go to bed and fall asleep faster too, because your body needs that rest. So mastering sleep is actually the first tip I have for people trying to become like athletes or just more competitive individuals. So once you got your sleep down, then next I would go to exercising, mastering your exercise. The only reason I touch the diet last is because for a lot of people it's hard to change their diet, and it's also going to be the one that throws your body out of whack the most. You know, you might experience something negative at first before it becomes positive, something like that. So I recommend exercising as the second step to becoming more athletic and getting in better shape. When you exercise in the gym, some good exercises to do for swimming is weightlifting, low weights, high reps, something like with your arms, you're going up to like 15, 30 reps. With your legs, you're going somewhere around 10 to 20 reps with whatever weights you're doing. I just do a basic normal weight routine, biceps, triceps, shoulders, the whole 9 yards. I don't do traps a lot, just because, I'm not sure why, just because I've always use my shoulders to do my swimming, so I haven't needed very large traps. Plus it makes it harder to streamline when you have big trap muscles, so I usually, that's like the only exercise I don't do that I see most people like me doing. My favorite for swimming, the best exercises you can do for swimming would be lat pull down. So you're pulling a bar or doing pull-ups, because that'll increase your lat strength and your armpit strength and all of this, your triceps too, even a little bit in your chest and your back. So it's a great exercise for swimming. That's the number one. Pull-ups slash lat pull down, that's the best exercise you can do for swimming. The second best exercise would be triceps, getting your triceps strong, because you push out the back of the water a lot, which is tricep work. So getting your triceps strong would be the next thing. Shoulders would be the third thing I'd start working on. And then when you're talking about your legs, you of course want to hit the hamstrings by doing squat presses or leg presses. You want to do your quads by doing leg extensions. That'll help strengthen your quads, which makes your kick stronger. And then just some calf raises, because when you push off a wall, every last bit you can get to push you forward in the water will make the rest of the lap faster and smoother, because you can carry that momentum. Things in motion tend to stay in motion. So if you push off fast, you'll slow down slower. Does that make sense? You'll decelerate slower. You'll be able to keep that speed longer. So calf raises is another good exercise for swimmers to be able to get every ounce of pressure they can on the wall when they push off. As far as diet, and cardio, you don't have to do much cardio because you're already doing a lot of cardio from swimming. So I would recommend weights. Weights or like yoga is amazing. Yoga is amazing for getting balance and strength in the water. Love yoga. Also stretches you out, which you can't go wrong with that. I love stretching. So yoga is a great exercise. Then my personal favorite, if you're someone who's a competitive swimmer or looking to get competitive, gymnastics. I love gymnasts when they swim in the water. They look amazing. They have great balance. They have great stamina. They have agility. They're acrobatic. They can do flip turns really easily, things like that. So I love gymnastics as a workout regimen for someone who's a competitive swimmer or looking to become ultra competitive, like Ironmans, things like that. For eating, you want to do kind of a high protein diet. Now, take into consideration, it's not a one size fits all. Everybody's diet plans have to be unique for them. Okay, you have to talk to your doctor and find out what works best for you. But my diet as a swimmer, the diet we encourage our swimmers to do is high in fruits and veggies, seeds, grains, multivitamins, things like that. And then low in sugars, unnatural sugars and added sugars, low. So if you want that sugar, get it from your fruits. But lots of fruits and veggies, grilled chicken, fish like salmon, things like that. anything with lean meats. So not a lot of high fatty meats like fried chicken and things like that. Steak is okay once or twice a week. Red meats are okay. But you're better off keeping a low sugar diet, and if you're gonna get your fats anywhere, get them from like cashews, nuts, things like that, avocado, great resource for healthy fats. But that's a great question. Well-rounded, balanced diet, of course, is always going to be key. So there's no special trick or like special diet the Olympians are doing or anything like that. They've all got their unique diets. There's no one plan for everyone. Everybody's body type is differently. I put on fat really easily, but I also put on muscle really easily. So I'm always trying to balance my diet to work with me that way. Some people are the opposite. I have a coach who works for me who is naturally skinny all the time. His metabolism works really fast. He can eat a pizza, like an entire pizza by himself, and lose weight the next day somehow. Not fair, right? But some people are different. Their body types are different, and they have a different diet that works better for them. Okay, I'm gonna fill up my water bottle. We're almost 30 minutes into this live stream, so I'm gonna take a quick break here. I'll be right back, and we will continue till 10 p.m. Texas time, so about another 90 minutes, another hour and a half. All right, we are back. I have to go do my homework, but I really appreciate all of this. Yeah, no problem. Get your homework done. School's first. Well, family's first.
We did try doing it on our own. It's easy to get your friends and family to like your pages, but it's hard to reset.
Okay. All right, now I can read these comments a lot easier. I just pulled it up on my desktop, the live stream. So let's read where I left off. I want to let you know that one of your videos taught me how to float on my back, and I can do it for hours. That's what I'm talking about, Darlene. Nice work. Great job. Treading water is literally so hard for me. Yes, treading water is very difficult. I don't love it. Not super efficient. You're gonna get tired pretty fast. But if you're trying to do it better, I've got a video on it. Neeraj will probably put the video link to my treading water video in this chat right here. I'm not sure if he's gonna do it as Rocket Swimming or as Art of Neeraj, whoever he's signed in as right now. But he'll get that up there for you. But treading water is great for social reasons only. Being able to talk to friends and keep your head above water in water you can't stand in is like the only reason you should be treading water. It's not good for survival, okay? It's not. You'll get too tired too fast. If you want to survive, if you're trying to survive in the water, you need to get on your back and do some kicking, light paddling, and floating on your back that way. That way you can last a lot longer. By the way, we have Rocket Swimming t-shirts for sale. I did not remember that we had done that already, but I love that. They are sitting right here below this video. Very cool. I'm gonna order myself one. All right, let's see. What's next? Let's go do my homework. Oh, right. So helpful and informative. Thank you. How often do you recommend to go to the pool? More than 3 days per week? What about duration? Good question. Depends on what your goals are. If your goals are to compete in a triathlon or something, or a swimming race, a master swimming race, then you'll want to go to the pool 3 to 5 times a week. Probably, 3 to 5 times a week. If your goal is to just learn how to swim and get better at it, 2 to 3 times a week is good for fast progress, consistent progress. If you only go once a week, you can still progress that way, but you're gonna have to increase the duration that you're there. And that sometimes leads swimmers to be sore. So it's better to if you're gonna if you want to swim like 2 hours a week, it's better to do it as like 3 40-minute sessions as opposed to 1 2-hour session. So I recommend figuring out how much you want to swim in a week and then spreading it out over the practices you want to, however many times you want to go to the pool, and then dividing it up equally like that. So if you are training for something big, you're going to have to go more often and for longer. If you're training just to get better at swimming, you don't need as much. I have to text my editor here. He's texting me on the side. So we're going to post the floating video and the treading water video for people, since those are both where a lot of our questions are coming from. We also have more content coming, new content coming. That'll be really good for beginners, as well as some competitive swimmer content coming, like diving videos, flip turn videos, stroke videos. We don't have a treading water video. I don't have a treading water video? Wow, that's interesting. I'll have to make one. Then just post the floating video. Where was I? Duration. When you go to the pool, duration, like I said, you're gonna have to decide how many hours you need to train per week. But I recommend no less than 30 minutes at the pool and probably no more than an hour. As an adult, you don't need much to stay active. So I wouldn't go for longer than an hour, because chances are you're gonna burn out after like a month to 3 months and just not want to go anymore, because you're like, oh, I have to wake up and go to another hour-long swim practice. Don't do that to yourself. Don't make it so that you're discouraged from going. make it so that you enjoy going and you want to keep going back. Okay. All right. Why is doggy paddling so tiring? It helps keep my hair dry, though. Yeah, it does help keep your hair dry. Doggy paddling is tiring because your head's up. When your head's up, your legs sink, so you're now swimming uphill through the water, which is like resistance pressing against your body, and so you're not very efficient, right? If you were to get your head down in the water, you'd be more efficient. But I understand you want to keep your hair dry, so let's talk about that. First of all, you can wear a swim cap. That'll help keep your hair dry. Secondly, using fins will help make the whole experience a little bit easier to keep your head above water. I highly recommend fins. I love fins for every beginner because it makes the whole experience easier and more enjoyable. You will progress faster than you think too, because it's kind of like having training wheels. And on a bicycle, it's like having training wheels. So it'll make everything you're learning at first so much easier. So I recommend wearing fins to help keep your hair dry. Lastly, you're gonna have to kind of, when you're pulling back, you're gonna have to kind of push down a little bit too to keep your body elevated, but be careful with that, because everything that goes up must come back down. So if you can't do a fast doggy paddle, then pushing yourself up is gonna make you bob like this, because you're gonna come back down and then have to get back up again. So it may not be the right, that's like the last tip I would give. Try the first two first. Fins, swim cap, and then trying to keep yourself up a little bit higher. If you're trying to keep your hair wet, then try to think about, oh, I want to keep my shoulders dry, right? If you're just trying to keep like your mouth out of the water, then you're like, okay, I'm going to keep my chin out of the water, my neck out of the water. But since you're trying to keep your entire whole hair wet, then I recommend trying to keep something even lower than that out of the water to help like over aim, like overshoot for your goal, and that'll keep your hair dry. Okay, no problem. All right, I'm getting a shirt I will support. Hey, thank you, darling. Man, I like this, darling. That's awesome. How to float in water. That's the video we posted. Thank you, darling. Thanks. All right, we are in the middle of a live stream that we're doing for 2 hours. We're gonna be doing this once a week on Mondays every week. And I'm your new free online coach. So you'll be able to come in, ask me questions, and I will answer them weekly. We're gonna go till 10 p.m. my time, which is about another hour and 20 minutes. So 80 minutes left. But this video will then stay up on the YouTube channel and stay live, or I mean stay published. So you guys can always come back and rewatch it. All right. All right, well, there seems to be a lull in the questions, which is totally okay. I'm going to set up some of my other devices here to make the streaming experience more enjoyable for me. Glad everyone's here, having fun already.